So I decided to make a little bit of a informal video to go with the video I made to sort of explain what I did a little bit. I'm recording this with iMovie, which is much easier to work with. Then what follows here is a video example that I made using just Google Slides and QuickTime to give you an idea of like how simple this can be. Okay, so take a look at this. Hi everyone, this is a simple video demonstration of the most basic approach to the keyword assignment. That is, I'm showing you a screen capture video of a Google slideshow I recorded and lightly edited with QuickTime. QuickTime comes with the Mac, but it is also available for Windows. Chances are, though, you already have the software you need to make a much better video than this one. I'll get to that in a moment. Let me start by reminding you why we're doing this. First, professional writing and technical communication are multimedia fields, and for years now, I've had students who have graduated and then began careers in the field tell me that they found themselves doing all kinds of multimedia tasks. Second, I've taught multimedia projects in a variety of classes now for years and years, and my experience has been that practicing writing this way is similar to, but different from, what I like to call words in a row writing. So besides learning a bit more about how these multimedia tools work, I hope you also see how the assignment will make you rethink more conventional writing practices as well. We're also doing this because it is surprisingly easy to get almost professional results with some very basic tools and computer skills, along with a bit of practice. There's a reason why there is so much great looking, albeit amateur content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so forth. It's just not that hard to do. But this is also an exercise where at least part of the goal is to give you a technical task where you need to learn how to do it by figuring it out on your own. Personally, the only way I've ever learned how to do just about any kind of technical computer thing is by playing around with it for a while. You should do that too, and my main goal here is to point you in the right direction. So let me offer you some basic steps on how to get started with this. First, write a script and rehearse your delivery. The main reason you want to do this is that most of us are just not very good at speaking off the cuff, and you want to avoid as many ums and ahs and stuff like that as possible. But the other reason is you need to follow the rules for the time limits. Remember, this video needs to be between 3 and 6 minutes long. And writing that down, what you're going to say, is going to make it easier to do that. Second, record the audio for your video in a quiet place. This makes a more difference than you might think, and in my experience with these things, it is actually much easier to make quite professional looking video with a home computer or a cell phone than it is to record audio. And remember, your goal here is to make a video that looks and sounds as professional as possible. A lot of experts recommend for best results recording at home in a space like a closet filled with clothes. You might want to experiment with that. It is possible, if possible, I'd recommend using some kind of microphone because almost any mic is better than the one that is built into your computer. A simple headphone mic isn't a bad choice at all, and if you have a better than that mic, use it. I am recording this with a microphone I picked up a few years ago for less than $50, and it's a very worthwhile investment, especially if you intend to do anything else like this in the future. Finally, you should plan on editing both your video and audio rather than trying to just do it all in one take. For starters, it will ultimately be easier for you to edit out the inevitable mistakes that you will make in the recording process. But beyond that, good editing is one of the things that makes the difference between a video that looks thrown together and amateurish and one that looks organized and surprisingly professional. Now, this video is super basic, and I made it with free tools, Google Slides and QuickTime, which is a screen capturing and recording software from Apple. There's a Windows version of it as well. You can do some simple editing with just QuickTime, and you might also want to try to experiment with the YouTube video editing software as well. Oh, and by the way, I'm assuming that everyone will share this video as a YouTube video since that is far and away the easiest way to do this. But you could and probably should use the much better multimedia software you probably already have, even if you've never used it. You could keep it simple and record your video within PowerPoint itself. But if you want to do something that looks a little bit more than just basic, as in this video, then check out some of the less basic tools. Unlike older versions of the Microsoft operating system, Windows 10 and 11 both now have built-in video editing tools. If you have a Mac, you have iMovie, which is a surprisingly powerful video tool that is quite easy to use. But like I said, part of the goal of this assignment is for you to more or less figure it out on your own. Experiment a little. If you've never opened up the video editing software on your computer, now is the time. If you want to email me questions, or if you want to get together via Zoom or face-to-face to work on this, let me know. But honestly, search YouTube for the questions you have about doing these things. If you haven't tried this before, you'll be surprised at how many useful tutorials are out there. Thanks for watching. Okay, let me share with you a few basic thoughts about that. First off, that was the first time that I had tried to use Google Slides and QuickTime just to make a video, because normally I would use what I'm using right now, which is iMovie. And I found it difficult to do. I think that using iMovie for me is easier to do. But of course, if you've never used iMovie before, or one of the other, like the video editing software that comes with Windows, it's hard to say. I did have to, for example, and I don't know if you can tell this or not, I did have to edit out several times of me going or something like that, and rearrange some things where I screwed up. And I think it's fairly smooth, but could be a little bit better. It certainly is easier to do that sort of editing with things like iMovie. The other thing that iMovie allows you to do much easier is to insert things. Like, for example, I could have inserted live video into that other video if I had used iMovie in the first place, but it was a little bit tricky and wonky to do it with just the basic tools. Like I said, this software is on your computer right now, and it really isn't that hard to use. So I would really recommend trying to experiment with it a little bit. But like I said, I've given you a couple different routes here. You can go very simple, use something like Google Slides and screen capture. Still very simple, just try to record it with PowerPoint. Or you can try to do something a little bit more experimental, a little bit more sophisticated. I'd really encourage you to try that to open up that video editing software. I will mention one other thing. To make that short video took me several hours to do, because I had to write the script, then I had to rewrite the script because I changed the way that I did things. Then I had to experiment with QuickTime, which took a little bit to figure out. Then I had to experiment with in terms of recording and re-recording my video because I screwed some stuff up. Then I had to do some editing and so forth. So that's the thing. This is the sort of activity that, to do these sort of writerly activities with video and audio, might be more time consuming than they're used to doing with just words in a row, as much as anything else, because you have more practice with just writing words in a row. But budget your time budget your time for doing this, because it's going to take you a little while to put them together. So, okay, so that's my talk about this. I'm curious to see what kind of questions and response people have below in the discussion, and curious about what people's plans are for their videos as well. Okay.